then you have only few seconds to play with air. So basically, skydiving is nothing but you're playing with air.
True.
So that's what. So if you see the vultures and the kites and the eagles, they play with air. So they look for thermals and they play with air. So that's what we do.
Hi, I'm Surabhi Sapra. Welcome to my podcast, The Migrating Occult. We have with us today Ms. Rachel Thomas. Ms. Rachel Thomas is India's first female skydiver, bestowed with the National Adventure Award for Aerosports and a Padma Shree, the first in the aviation category. At a time when becoming an air hostess was taboo, she broke all barriers and learned to skydive, to fly free like a bird in the sky. A flight that began 43 years ago culminated in 2002 when she planted the tricolor on the North Pole. They say, be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. From being a 3-time competitor at the World Skydiving Championships, to being an international sports judge, to being India's first delegate to the International Parachuting Commission, to writing her first book, Limitless, and to being a TEDx speaker, Rachel's journey has always motivated us. In her own words, every life has one such opportunity to identify its defining purpose, to explore the meaning beyond mere existence. Those who dare to dream and fulfill it are truly blessed. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you today.
Hearing you speak about me felt very good.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, as a child, you've always fantasized about soaring high up in the sky like the eagles. Flying an aeroplane was your ultimate dream.
Yes.
Then how did skydiving happen? And we're talking about like 70s, in the 70s, like what, 43, 45 years back. So there were no skydiving training institutes in India at that time. It was like absolutely new, unheard of. So how skydiving?
I was already married and I was a mother of 2 kids and I was married to an army officer. And sometimes we say that, something happens by chance. And I happened to be standing at the right place at the right time. So we were standing in a group and it was the para dinner. It was the para center celebrating their raising day party. And there was this, Chantal was a French lady married to a Sikh paratrooper. And they started the first skydiving club in the country.
Okay.
So it was way back in 1979.
Wow.
So she just, she said, because she was a lady instructor and she herself was a skydiver, she felt very bad that there were no women who joined the course. So she just casually said that, why is it, I'm surprised that no women have come forward. So I just stood up and said, I just asked out of the blue, can I join? He said, yes, be at that place at 5:30 in the morning. And there were two more lady officers, lady wives there with me, Nishi and Satinder.
Okay.
So they also became very enthused about it and they also decided to join with me.
Okay.
So it was, and it was not a day of what's up, are you coming, where do we meet and things like that. So no phone calls. So, but we reached.
Wow. Okay. I quote from your book, my peace was caged, not in the controls of the plane, but jumping out of it. Your first jump was in 1979. Tell us something about it.
After nearly 25 days of very serious ground training, the time came to jump out of the plane. And to be honest, my first jump was my first flight.
Okay.
So it was, I never thought, I wanted to do it. But for me, at 4,500 feet, 5,000, to leave the safety of the aircraft and just to jump into nothing was such a, it's just natural. My hands were sweating. Sometimes when I, even today also, when I talk about that story, I can feel my hands getting, my hands getting
Just
wet.
thinking about it.
Chantal was my instructor, my jump master for the day, and she pulled out the pin, that is the pin for the automatic opening device.
For the parachute.
For the parachute. Those days, we were using a very old instrument called Cap 3, which was a timer, time bound, like in so many seconds, 5 seconds, it will go.
It'll automatically open.
Automatically open.
Okay.
So she showed me the pin and she said, it's time for you to go. So she said, go. So I would go to the door and come back. I'd go to the door and come back. And she screamed at me, finding so loudly that I literally jumped out. So I flew, and basically I think I was so scared to fall or die that I hung from that. So it was not, the first jump I did it, all 3 jumps. So the first jump, my hand was wet, so I slipped and fell.
Okay.
And I quickly opened my parachute. The second day also, it was the same story. The third day, I just refused to leave it.
Oh.
I would not let go of it. I just held it for dear life. So I'm flying with the plane, hanging from the plane, and the plane is flying, and I'm flying like that, like Superman, Superwoman. So then she literally had to come out, and she pushed me down with all her force. Otherwise, there would have been a massive accident. My parachute would have come in,
opened,
and it would get sucked into the plane. It would get wrapped up in the plane. So all the other jumpers could have jumped out, but the pilot would have died.
Yeah.
And the plane would have, and I would have died.
I believe that you were...
Yeah. I was grounded. I was grounded.
Yes.
Not grounded. I was asked to please
Not come back.
I started crying like a baby. That, someone who's lost their toy, so, or their dream, or, something so dear to you, you want to do it, but you cannot do it. And I said, I'm sorry. Can you give me one more chance? She said, okay, I'll give you one more chance, but you're going to face the tail and go out, not the propeller.
And that helped.
And that helped.
Okay.
Then she shared her own story. Also, in my book, it's very well said that she lost her best friend. So it became very difficult for her to jump.
Okay.
And how she came back to skydive later.
Okay.
So then she said, all these guys sitting here, you think they're not scared? They're also scared. But because they are men,
But you have to overcome it. Yeah.
So you have to overcome it.
True. So your first jump now, so till then, skydiving was basically, very for very highly qualified defense officers, if I can say that. And you 3 ladies created history that day.
Yes.
You were not just skydivers. You were the first 3 civilian women who had done this, So, do you feel that you had intruded that territory? And were there any repercussions? Were any, did you get any...
Even for the army or people from the army, for the commandos, to become a skydiver, they had to go through a very tough medical. They had to go through a chamber test. They had to go through a lot of psychological tests and all those things before they went for ground training. You have to pass all those tests.
Okay.
So here we women have not even done our medical, and we went and did just our training, and we decided to jump. So for them, their ground shook. So for the normal people, it became, skydiving is easy. It's not something so difficult. Yeah. So yes, they did get affected by it. And I think they...
made your life tough or something?
Yes.
I think when your instructor would have gone through a lot for kind of initiating this kind of a effect, should I say?
More than that, what they did is it was indirect kind of problems they would make. So we'd get either our jumps at very early in the morning, or when there's no wind, or when it's very hot in the afternoon, when the thermals have started. So the condition for flying the parachute was not good.
Yeah.
So that kind of problems were there. Okay. But we managed to do our 10 jumps and get our A license.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you've done about 650 jumps through your career.
That's correct.
And after listening to you, what I feel is that it's just not physical fitness. There's a lot of mental fitness and, strength that you need. And I believe your training was also very tough, as the book says.
Basically, I would say what you said is true. It's not only physical fitness, it's mental. You have to be mentally alert. For example, you're skydiving from 10,000 feet. So from 10,000 feet to 3,000 feet, you've done 7,000 feet in free fall position. You're flying like a bird. But if suppose you are spinning or your body position is not good, you cannot open your parachute in that condition.
Yes.
So all these things you've got to, while you're falling, you have to think. Or if you got into a problem, how to get out of it. There is no instructor to turn around and say that, I'm having this problem, what should I do?
You're totally on your own.
You're totally on your own. You're falling on your own. And everything happens in seconds. So from 10,000 to 3,000, we fall in 45 seconds. So you have to be very...
A lot of presence of mind also.
Yeah, you always in our mind, we have plan B going through.
True.
So if this is not working, so what's the next? Kind of a thing.
And would you be reciting some prayers?
Yes.
Your favorite God or anything?
Yes, I would say my Our Father in heaven. I don't know how many times I would say it in the plane before I skydived. Either I should have been dead or I should have been...
Let's not say that. Let's not say that.
Paraplegic. But I feel God has a plan for everyone's life.
Okay. You've traveled to Australia in 1984 and you witnessed the Australian National Championship live. And I think that is where you really found your direction to achieve your goal, your dream, I would say. And in 1986, you went to the US to train at Rayford, North Carolina. And that was in style and accuracy diving disciplines. From Agra, where you were training, to the US, how did it happen? Like, permissions, equipment, travel, must have been a lot of, a cost and convincing your family. And so how did, even permissions and everything,
So basically, when I was invited to Australia by the late Mr. Claude Gillard, who was the president of the Australian Parachute Federation, he saw the grit in me. He saw the determination in me, and he saw that I was a person with focus. So to get to Rayford, you might have seen in my book I wrote to Rajiv Gandhi. It was a handwritten letter. So I got called and I got the PM scholarship, which was such a blessing. And those days we were allowed to take out only $500 every alternate year, not every year even. And I took out on my passport officially nearly $10,000 because it catered for my training, buying the equipment there, and my stay and everything. So everything was taken care of.
Right.
So I went there and I trained to become a style and accuracy jumper. And then I started going for world competitions.
Okay, that's wonderful. All right, so in spite of the limited training opportunities in India, you managed to participate in 3 international competitions. You were the solo woman participant representing India in all these 3 competitions, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you must have faced a lot of male chauvinism and, a lot of egoistic people. Maybe you're...
Not with the international teams, but in our own country, yes.
Okay. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. But internationally, everyone would try and help me. And they would ask me, you mean to say there are no more skydivers? There's no men or women skydivers? I said, women haven't come to the forces yet.
It is so surprising that the defense did not have women at that time. And here a civilian woman going all alone and representing India in these competitions must be such a moment of pride for you.
It was to carry our own national flag and walk into when the opening ceremony takes in. It feels very good.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. It's because you've skydived in 11 different countries, and you've jumped from 16 different types of aircrafts, and each aircraft has a different slipstream. Also, that every time in every country, in every different aircraft, the parachute was very different. So first tell us like a small thing about what is a slipstream, and also how did you, do these things really matter, having a different aircraft, having a different parachute, and how did you cope with all this? And we're talking about times when, there was no Google, there was no training, there was hardly any training, there were hardly any facilities. So how did you cope with all this?
It's when, especially, suppose I was skydiving from a Mi-18 in our own country, a chopper from our own country during a demo jump.
Okay.
So nobody told me that, that is going to be the best experience in your life.
Okay.
But I did it and I felt it and I realized. So basically when a helicopter rotor goes round, so the air from the rotor's thing comes pushed down. So you feel, you get a very beautiful body position.
Okay.
So whereas if it is an aircraft that has got a propeller and you're jumping sideways, the wind from that propeller pushes you back. So it's a different effect. And the best jump, I would say, is from a balloon.
Okay.
There is no sound, there is no noise, there is no air disturbance, there's nothing. It's pure, it's absolutely pure. So it was...
I think Miss Chatwal should have used the chopper to start your skydiving.
Yes, I think so. Because there was nothing to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And what about parachutes? So there'll be different parachutes?
No, it's the same parachute. It's the same parachute.
In all different countries also?
No. Parachute is your own.
Okay.
It's like your own garment. So there is no...
So you would carry the parachute to different countries? Or that'd be quite a weight also.
Yeah. So sometimes those days there was not so much of weight restrictions like today.
Now, would you like to share something scary that has happened with you and also something funny that has happened while skydiving?
I'll share the funny thing first. Okay. So basically, like I told you, we used to get time to skydive later in the afternoon at about after 2, 3, when the wind speeds would go up and the thermals would take place. So these parachutes were really very old. So I landed in a village. Those days I had very long hair. I had hair till here.
Wow.
And I had a chutia. Okay. So when I pulled out my chutia, because it was in the month of April, it was very hot. So when I took out that helmet, nikala, and I opened my dangri a bit because t-shirt tha, and you won't believe it, ye to kudi hai. So everyone was like,
even the managers were so shocked that
they were so shocked, and we were told, be careful of your parachute. So I said, move, and I just sat on my parachute because they would cut the parachute cloth and take for wind cheaters.
Okay.
So we had
that material is like,
so we had to protect our parachute. So then they said, what do you want? So they got me water. So then I became like a queen in that village. So it became very interesting. And what was scary was 2 incidents. One was, that was I think my 3rd or 4th jump.
Okay.
And again, the wind was very strong. So I landed, and the moment I stood up, it dropped me because the wind was just pulling me.
Okay.
So it was dragging me. And then when I looked, there was a big kind of a khadda. It was like going long. I think it was a nala or something. I don't know.
Okay.
At least 5 feet. So if I would stand, I would fall into it from my head down. So I just lay there, and the parachute was the other side of the nala going drum, drum, drum. So all I could say is, God, send somebody, send one angel for me. So we had a very fat man, Pawar tha uska naam. Karke aaya, and he put my parachute down, and all I could say is, thank you. So that was
must be so scary.
It was.
Yeah. So when incidents like these happen, how do you go up again? Like,
You forget. Because basically, what is skydiving is all about, you want to go and try out something new. You know, you want to, because every jump is a learning experience. It's not something that you've done now and you mastered it. It's not something like that. There are things that I want to learn to do, turn this side, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. So every jump you go and try to do something, learn. So you forget all the thing, and you
I think it makes you even more determined. And,
yeah. And then you have only few seconds to play with air. So basically, skydiving is nothing but you're playing with air.
True.
So that's what. So if you see the vultures and the kites and the eagles, they play with air.
Yes.
So they look for thermals and they play with air.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. One more scary thing was in Austria when I was training to be a judge. So I went to be a drifter. That is jump and pull.
Okay.
So basically, it is you make the jumpers want to see how far you're going. So you're not doing anything to come to so they see how far
you can drag yourself in the air.
It is taking you.
Okay.
So they will plan their flight accordingly.
Okay.
So I was trying to open my parachute. It was just not coming because I had fat on it very bad.
Okay.
So they would not come out of the sleeve, out of the pocket. I kept trying it, and I forgot that I was at 3,000 feet. So within 3 seconds, I was supposed to pull my parachute open within 3 to 5 seconds. And it went over 5 seconds. So then quickly I opened my reserve because ye nahi ho raha tha. So I barely made a parachute khula. I never even got to get to the steering lines, the toggles for landing. I had landed. So everyone said to me in the ground,
Crazy.
that was close.
Yes, that was very close.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what through the talk and even otherwise when I met you, and I've realized, I mean, don't mind, but you're a little notorious.
Even today, I will say naughty jokes. I will not behave my age. I'm supposed to be a grandmother of 3 kids.
Which is very good, but I believe you've done something which
Yes.
could have really, really put you in trouble.
I was in Russia when, Russia was going through a very bad time. They had no food. There was nothing in the stores. Can you imagine? You go to a big supermarket, like the biggest food supermarket chain, and you only find salt. And there's nothing to buy. So when I was there, suddenly Gorbachev was, he was, what is it called? Hijacked, or the coup took place, and no one
Stuck in Russia at that time.
no one knew where Gorbachev was. Third day, I decided to come back to India. I decided not to stay anymore. I said, before everything closes down, let me leave. So when I was leaving, that time my children were small. They were hardly 13, 14 years. I said, didn't even get chocolates to take for them. I didn't know what to do. So I was just walking and with my friend, and I saw this little puppy on the road. And I bought him for $1, $1 American. So he was a little Shih Tzu, like an Apso, in a handbag. I took him to the airport. But I had plan B ready. I said, if I get caught, I'll say, you keep it. After all, I paid only $1. You keep it. If it goes through, it goes through. So that is the day they found Gorbachev.
Okay. He was found. Okay, all right.
They're all busy.
The attention was...
And they're looking at the newspaper. The attention was there. And I can see on the X-ray screen the dog's ribs and the heart going. I just looked up and said a prayer. And I got the dog. I went into the aircraft. And once the aircraft took off, I took
then it does
So
matter.
the rest you can read again, like I say. So my children, and we named the dog Gobby.
Okay.
Yeah. So I take a risk.
Yeah. But this was a big risk that you took. And I think it was an adorable risk.
Yeah.
But yes, a big, big risk. Yes, so that is true. All right. So very interesting question. Your logbook, which you've maintained quite religiously, it was signed by 2 different presidents of India. So tell us something about each of that jump, and how is, the feeling of jumping when the president of India is watching you, and then they signing your logbook.
So the first experience was in Bhopal. I can't remember the year, but it was the first time the National Youth Festival took place. And the first time the country started hosting the Youth Festival on Swami Vivekananda's birthday, that is 13th of January. So I was we had to do a jump in Bhopal for the inauguration. And Shankar Dayal Sharma, late Honorable Shankar Dayal Sharma was the chief guest of the function. So we had done a trial jump into the stadium a day previous. And I was leading the team with 5 or 6 Jawans, and there was no officers. There was one Subedar Major, Roshan Lal, and me with 6, 7 Jawans. We were jumping there. And so the whole of Bhopal could see us in the sky. And because we jumped one day earlier. So the next day, the stadium was packed. And you could see people come when they heard the chopper in the air, they heard the aircraft. They all started running out of the houses, and you could see them all heading towards the stadium. And it was a very cold day. In Bhopal there's never winter. And it was very cold.
Okay.
And we landed in the stadium. And for me, when I came in to land into the stadium, it was so heartfelt. I'm seeing the President of India coming out of the Shamiana, standing out, on the stage, standing and watching me, because he knew I'm the only girl. And I had a tricolor parachute. Nobody in India had a tricolor parachute there.
Wow.
So he was standing and watching me. And for me, it was, I really brought tears to my eyes. How can the President of India stand for me when I'm skydiving? And then, of course, I was taken.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, I went up and met him. I was introduced to him. And later I went and asked him to sign my book.
Okay. And
Very
the second,
The second was funny. It was R.K. Narayan. So it was India celebrating 50 years of independence. So in Delhi, we have the Polo Grounds. That's right next to the PM's house. So the Polo Grounds, they were having a match between UK and India.
Okay.
So before the polo match, they had an inauguration into the stadium, and I skydived into it. So again, I was the only lady among the officers and Jawans that were jumping, because you've got to remember, women came into the forces only in '92.
Yes.
Not before.
Not before that. Very true.
So 50 years of our independence was before '92. So after the jump, I came and I sat behind the president.
Okay.
And then after some time, I slowly passed my logbook to him. And I said, "Sir, can you please sign it for me?" And then his bodyguard was standing far, and Colonel was standing far away, and he gave me daggers. I said, "Your laxity, not mine."
Exactly. Very true.
Yeah, because if I could reach the president from the back, you should have made sure there should have been one row of nobody sitting there.
Absolutely.
You know, so he got mad with me. His face was red and he was angry. So, but I said, sorry. So that's how I have his signatures. Because for me, I have George Fernandez's too, before he became defense minister. I have Abdul Kalam's before he became president.
So you say that, you should believe in yourself. I think you should believe in yourself and also act on it. So your dreams got wings on the 5th of April, 1979, when you volunteered to join skydiving training. 15 days later, again on 20th April, 1979, you had your first jump. 8th April 1983, you did your first demonstration jump in Jabalpur. And then again, 20th April 2002, you planted the tricolor on the North Pole.
I think April loves me.
Yes. So that is what I was noting. It's all April. So I think it's really favorable.
20th April was my first jump, and my last jump, my historical jump was on the North Pole, was again on 20th April.
Yes.
It was not planned, it just happened. So again on the North Pole, we were not supposed to stay there. We were just supposed to go, change into, and wear a parachute, get into the helicopter, jump and come back to Siberia.
Okay.
But when we landed there, 6 days, the weather packed up, a blizzard came through. So the winds were very strong, we couldn't jump, it was a snowstorm.
Okay.
So 6 days, we never had food for 3 meals.
Okay.
We got only one good meal. It was minus 55. And we had to stay there on the 6th day, 5 days we stayed. And on the 6th day we jumped. So the 20th April just happened by coincidence.
I think, got it destined that it has to be April and it has to be 20th April.
And the best thing was, I just rang up and told India, and I told my CPRO, my Chief Public Relation Officer in the railways, that I've jumped and I planted the flag and I've done it, and it's for Indian Railways, because Indian Railways was celebrating 150 years of being in the country. Yeah. And that day, I never knew that, this is where I say, God really, He orchestras. He chess khelta hai mere saath. He moves everything for me. So that day, the railway minister was releasing the budget
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he started the budget in the August House.
He mentioned you when he started the
Yeah,
budget.
yeah.
Yes,
I mean, what you can't be given such great blessings by God. Then this is not. I did not plan it.
I think you've achieved it. You really deserved it. And
It just happened that imagine in the whole parliament when the real budget is being passed, first thing the minister is saying, today is a great honor for our country because our flag has been planted by so-and-so this morning.
wow, but that is, I think the greatest moment
I
of
never
pride.
knew. A very dear friend gave me a copy of it. I have it in black and white with me. So it's just truth. So I also never knew it was said in the parliament because it was not in the press.
It was, I could never come out of it.
Yeah,
It's true.
So I think it was there in some presses in a small clip because the budget was more important. But, I just thank God for everything.
Okay, so you have been bestowed with the Padma Shree. If you can just tell us a little about, how it all happened. I mean, I just want to know the feeling of standing there with all the others and getting the award.
Me, being a fighter, always as a fighter. I never knew I'm getting the Padma Shri. Someone called me up and said, your name is on the paper today. You've been awarded a Padma. I said, what rubbish. So that was my first reaction. She said, Times of India khol ke dekho. So I opened the Times and there my name
But they would give you a letter or some kind of information would have come.
It came later, but it's announced in the paper before.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Because then the information comes when to go for the award ceremony.
Okay.
So I was like shocked. And then, of course, then a lot of people, flowers, this, that, started happening. And the day when we really, we were at the, in the president, in front of the, we had to get up. So this is a miniature, which we wear for functions.
All right.
The big medal, we don't wear the big medal, which the president gives us. It's framed and kept. So this we can wear. So, so when I was standing and when we were going to get the award, so...
One second. Before that, so before this, was it like, should I wear this sari? Should I wear that sari?
Yeah.
Tell us those typical lady.
Yeah. It was.
Oh, so even you went through all that?
Yeah. And luckily,
should I wear the red sari or the black sari or the gold sari?
I picked up was with a kind of a tricolored.
Okay.
So it was like red, orange, and green. So it was a tricolor. And there's a special sari I wore it for my son's wedding. So it was a special sari. I didn't go to buy another one.
All right.
So I just bought what was in the house.
Okay.
And but when we went for the function, Shah Rukh Khan was one of them.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Gladys Staines was one of them. Krishnamurti was there. They were very Shobna from HT, the owner of HT was there. So they were very eminent people with me the year I got my Padma Shri. And so for women, they don't clip it.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't pin it here. So basically, there's a pin, and the president just hooks it on. So he doesn't have to put a pin. He just hooks it on because that the main medal has a hook at the back.
Okay.
For men, it'll be done. For women, no. I said, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm not a war widow. मैं क्यों वैसे लूँ? मैं ऐसे क्यों लूँ? I have done something for the country. My president is going to put it for me. So then that officer never knew what to do. I said, you go call. I am not going to take it. So I've always
You're quite difficult to handle.
No, I've always been a fighter. So that is,
I don't mind.
No, it's okay. So because of this kind of attitude, whenever I had a roadblock, I would find an alternative way. But मेरे को जो करना है करूँगी मैं. That
I think that should be the attitude.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
You don't give up. Don't give up without giving a fight.
True.
So सबको दे दिया. So I think that 2005 was the first year, I think if everyone looks up, was when they started. And now it is pinned.
Now I've noticed everybody's getting pinned.
Yeah, but it was not before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was.
So you've broken another trend.
I broke that. And I was very happy that Abdul Kalam gave it to me. President Kalam gave it to me. No one can beat him.
Yes, there's something about him.
Yeah.
So, wow, that is great. So, ma'am, it was wonderful having you on the show. This has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
And as I just said that I have been highly inspired by you. And I hope this podcast can inspire a lot more. Men, women, children, I think everybody. Thank you so much for taking out time and being here.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. And
It was such a nice podcast. I like
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So there's a small memento that we'd like to give to you, ma'am. This...
Amazing! Amazing!
Thank you, ma'am. This is a bird that I recently clicked.
Oh, wow.
And as you say...
An owl. Oh,
so ma'am, it's a black-shouldered kite.
okay, it's a kite.
And it's got a mouse catch in
Yeah,
it.
I can see that.
And as you always wanted to fly like a bird in the sky, I thought this would be the best
I
thing.
think this year is going to be a great year for me.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Thank you.
Like all the other years, and wishing you all the very best. Thank you so much for being on the show, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Oh, I know where it's going to be. In my bedroom.
Oh, wow.